Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the historic drop that's taking place on Bitcoin following the historic launch of the Bitcoin exchange traded funds a little over a week ago. Bitcoin rallied all the way up to a yearly high of $49,000, and right now, Bitcoin is correcting all the way down to major support between $37,000 and $40,000. And in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, we are going to be talking about why that drop is occurring, where it may lead to next, and we're also going to be talking about some of your favorite altcoins because many of them are faltering, going through major corrections. For example, Cardano right now is trading at 49 cents. Solana is trading at $87. These are levels that we have not seen in months, and this kind of market action has instilled quite a lot of fear in quite a few different investors. In today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, we're going to be talking about the correction that's taking place in Bitcoin and in the cryptocurrency markets and how we as traders and investors ought to respond to it. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. If you are new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. I'm a Christian who's been working in the cryptocurrency space for over 6 years now, and it is my great pleasure to bring you this live stream every single weekday morning and teach you guys more about cryptocurrency, financial wisdom, and help you to become as successful as possible in life, finance, and also, of course, primarily in the cryptocurrency space. We're going to kick off, as always, by reading some of the names of our awesome viewers who tune in and support us every single day. But if you guys do enjoy today's stream, I would highly ask if you could hit that like button, because it helps to support this content in the YouTube algorithm and helps to get this content out to more people. I was just looking at the analytics and it almost brought me to tears with the burden of how much responsibility I have for you guys. By looking at the analytics, we've had over 169,000 individual unique viewers in just the last 28 days, and that brings such a huge burden to me to be like, man, I've got to do a good job. I've got to present the gospel to these people. I've got to share with you guys financial wisdom. I've got to teach you guys how to be successful and help you guys store up blessings for yourself, your family, and the people around you. And that's what we're going to aim to do here every single day. So let's read some chat. Really appreciate all of you being here. First and foremost, we've got the Micah man himself, Sean O'Brien, Alex Nybo, RJ, Sweet Ben a Bear, Zach Kejmar, Crypto Dude MX. We've got some guy in yellow named Crypto Jeeb. Oh, that's me. Bob Riley's in chat. Philly Skills 1428's in chat. Schmedley B. Marley 123st. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that. Chris Toby, Crypto Guru, Crypto Ohio, Jason Gusso, Schmedley B again. Dharmendra Patel from London as always. Brandon Sandoval, The Max Queen, Brian, Dr. Tulio, Irish Shade, Renee Heredia. Buenos dias. Dios. Oh, of course. Dios te bendiga. Jebi familia, amen. Dios de bendicia. Is it Dios de bendicia? I always thought it was Dios de bendiga. Is it Dios de bendiga? Muchas gracias. Buenos dias, of course, this morning. All right, Midtown Cabinetry and Designs is in chat. Satcha321, the Scott Bros, Joe Bollier, and everybody else. May God bless you all with gains and stability, Diego Medeiros said. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate you all being here. Let's get started with CoinMarketCap. Today, the cryptocurrency market is down quite a lot. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $40,600. It is down 4% over the last 7 days, down 3% in just the last day, and it's not the only cryptocurrency that is faltering. We've got Ethereum dropping quite substantially, down 6% over the last 7 days. Binance is down 1.67% over the last 7 days. Binance has been very stable, largely trading sideways over the last several months, largely checking out of this whole market rally and correction that we've been witnessing. Solana is one of the big in Solana. I know many of you guys hold a huge amount of Solana, so tell me how you're feeling about that. XRP is down about 8%. Cardano down 6.27%, which is funny because I actually had a dream about Cardano last night. I had a dream that Cardano rallied to over $100 3 times, and every time I would go on Coinbase and I'm like, whoa, that's an extra 2 zeros than it was before, sell, and then, I don't know. It was an interesting dream. I don't often dream about cryptos. I often don't remember my dreams, but I do remember that one. I'm not saying that that's prophetic or anything. It'd take a lot for Cardano to go to $100, but I'm just saying I was pretty happy with my gains in that dream last night. Dogecoin has rallied, which is nice. Avalanche is down quite substantially, and the rest of the cryptocurrency market is, broadly speaking, taking a dive. Right now, if we look at the total chart, we'll be able to see that the cryptocurrency market capitalization is falling back down towards support around $1.5 trillion. We initially had to break through $1.5 trillion. We used it as support architecture. From there, we bounced and rallied up to the next major resistance, which was $1.75 trillion. That was, of course, a major level that was in play back during the previous bull market as well, and we've rallied near to that point. I do believe that the bull market is still far, far, far from over, but for now, we have seen a very large rally taking place in Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency right now is falling back to support around the $1.5 trillion support level. We've gone through a major correction over the last several days, over the last week and a half or so. It's been a 15% correction, a $270 billion drop, but the good news is the overall sentiment in the space is still largely and long-term very bullish. Most people and most investors, which is what really matters, still believe that a major bull market is coming, which means that many people are still looking for entries. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has not broken such market structure that now the general consensus is that we're going into a bear market. The general consensus is that we're going into a bull market, and investors are working on deploying capital as such. With that in mind, we're going to pay attention to see if $1.5 trillion will hold. If $1.5 trillion does not hold, our next major level of support would be $1.25 trillion, $1.25 trillion, or slightly above that on the VRVP right here, based on all of the trading that took place up here around 1.4 trillion. So if we do drop down to 1.5, then we may drop down to 1.4 trillion, and if that falls, then we will drop down to 1.25. If we did drop down to $1.25 trillion, that would line up very neatly with the different levels of support that we discussed last week in last week's Climate of Crypto episode, where we talk about how Bitcoin could drop down to fill the CME Futures Gap in the high 30s, which is what seems to be taking place right now, or drop all the way back down to critical market floor around $31,850. So again, those are the two major scenarios that we're looking at right now on Bitcoin. A corrective movement is taking place. Many times these corrections that are north of 15%, the like real actual market corrections, can take a couple of months to play out. So it would be a little bit, I say, overly optimistic on one hand to think that this correction is going to end just like that. There are some reasons to believe it might, and we'll talk about those in a second. We've got a falling wedge I want to let you guys know about. But the fact of the matter is, normally when Bitcoin falls into a corrective movement like this and starts breaking market structure, that correction can last anywhere from 30 to 90 days, which is what we are kind of expecting is going to happen right now. Again, there's a counter argument there, as there always is, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I do want you to be prepared that our two major scenarios are the more likely scenario, which is a drop into the high 30s. We could have bottomed out right now, but probably a drop to around 36 to 37, maybe on a wick, and we might actually do some trading around 38 to 39. And then the more extreme scenario is a drop all the way down to 31,850 to a support level at 32,500, which is based on the last bull market. Those are our two scenarios. We're going to continue to talk about those. We talked about that a lot last week, though, so what we're going to really hone in on today is the analysis and the understanding of where market is right now for today, and also on the altcoins, because those are two topics that we have not done a lot of coverage on, and I want to make sure you guys are getting as broad of a breadth of knowledge and understanding about the market as possible. Again, if you guys are enjoying today's stream, let's see the likes just go through the moon. Let's see if we can't get to 150 likes. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in, and I also really appreciate Chance Nelson for donating 99 cents with the shades. Thank you so much for the shades. It is Dios de Bendiga. Okay, so then I don't know what Dios de Bendice. Bendice. Spanish to English. I'm still learning. I know a little bit of Spanish. Bless. Oh, bless. Blessed day, I guess that means. Okay, well, God bless you as well. Oh, blessings to Jeb and your familia. I see. I got it. Cool. All right. I'm still learning. Thank you so much. All right. Well, guys, we are about to go into some really in-depth technical analysis today. But I first want to let you guys know that today's stream is brought to you by none other than NordVPN. The reason that NordVPN sponsored our channel and the reason that we wanted them to sponsor our channel was quite simply that if you look below this video, you're going to find a list of affiliate links and you're going to find a list of products. And every single one of those products is there for one purpose. And that is because I believe that it will help you build a toolkit of different tools that you can use to further your journey in the cryptocurrency space. It is the overall mission of this channel to help you guys download wisdom so that you may be blessed financially. That is what I intend to do, and that's why those links are down there. Obviously, this is a business, and those links help to keep the lights on, but the way that we choose what links are down there is by choosing products and services that we believe are genuinely going to help you in some way on your journey here in cryptocurrency. And one of the most important things that you can invest in is your own security. Because if somebody hacks you and steals all of your wealth, then what was the purpose of generating the wealth in the first place? That's why I believe NordVPN is such a critical component of that list down there, because if you sign up for NordVPN, you can use our link, get a huge discount, and get a 2-year plan, save a bunch of money, and you can do it all risk-free for 30 days, money-back refund guarantee, all the details. But the reason that I think it's an important part of your security architecture is because they are world-leading, industry-leading participants in security. They are going to help you stay safe by shrouding your IP address and having all kinds of other technologies that are going to protect you from hackers, from phishing attempts, from scams, all kinds of things they're going to help protect you from so that people don't come and steal your cryptocurrency. Make sure that you sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below, because you never know if you accidentally exported your private keys 7 years ago and they're sitting there waiting to be stolen. You never know if you put your password in the wrong area. You never know if you clicked on an email that you shouldn't have clicked on. You never know if somebody's got a keylogger on your computer. You really want to protect yourself from unknown threats. Just like I tell my son, I say, look both ways. He says, Daddy, I don't see any cars. And I say, son, it's the car you don't see that hits you. So before you get prideful and think that you've got it all figured out on security, it's not a bad idea to take a very small investment. It's not very expensive. Take a very small investment to protect yourself from the car that you don't see, because that's the car that gets you. So sign up with the link in the description box down below, and let's keep going here. Today, I want to start off by talking a little bit about Bitcoin, because there are a few contradictory elements of our analysis right now. So a broad level overview. I like to start broad and then zoom into the narrow. And then from there, we'll go on to the altcoins and wrap up with a recap of how we should approach this market so that you have an application here. Bitcoin initially fell back to $25,000 and then it rallied all the way up to $49,000. That was roughly a doubling on Bitcoin's price in 120 days. That's a little bit like running a marathon. After that occurs, don't you think that a marathon runner might need to take a little bit of time for rest and relaxation? It's not that the marathon runner isn't strong, it's that the marathon runner is human. And while Bitcoin is not human, the price of Bitcoin is determined by humans. And in the same way that the marathon runner needs to take a rest, in the same way that all of the marathon runners need to corporately take a rest, all of the traders and the investors and the bulls of Bitcoin, which are human, also need to corporately take a rest. And that's what we're doing right now. We are taking a rest. We initially saw the grayscale victory right here. From there, we went on a massive rally. We saw the ETFs launch, and that was the end of the rally. We saw 2 events capstone this movement. The grayscale victory started the movement, and the eventual approval of the ETFs as a result of the grayscale victory ended the movement. This is a unique market in history that is mostly defined by 2 fundamental events. Grayscale winning the lawsuit, and then Grayscale and 10 of their best friends, which are now competitors, getting ETFs approved. We are now in a new era between the Bitcoin ETF and the eventual halving that's going to take place. When the halving takes place, we're likely going to see a huge bout of exuberance and bullishness because of the supply side impact that will bring to Bitcoin. But during that time, it stands to reason that we will have some degree of correction. And therefore, we now have the corrective movement that is immediately before us. If we look down on the hourly chart, broadly speaking, we're going to see that Bitcoin has been quite bearish over the last several weeks, over the last week and a half or so. We have dropped cumulatively 17%, and we're currently double bottoming on a support level around $40,500. This support level right here is defined by 3 major bottoms that we have set historically. First of all, back here in the second week of December, we also saw a bottom here on the 18th of December, which was a Monday, and then on the 3rd of January, 2024, right here. At the same time, we have fallen below this critical uptrending level of support, which has defined this uptrend for months, in fact, now going on years. Being below this uptrending level of support does give us some kind of indication that this may be a sharp, fast, but also only temporary pullback. We've only fallen below this uptrend once, and we did eventually rally back up above it. That being said, this uptrend cannot be held forever because it does eventually lead straight up into infinity. It is on the logarithm chart, so it gets progressively harder to attain and stick to as time goes on, because if it were to be adjusted to the linear chart, it would be a parabola, not a straight line. The only reason it looks like a straight line is because it's on the log chart. So it is increasingly hard to maintain this uptrend, which again looks like a straight line on the log chart, but if you were to translate it onto the linear chart, which is not something that is possible to do in TradingView, it would be a parabola. A little bit like how if you look at a map, a flat map, it looks like the planes are taking curves. Well, on the Earth, because it's round, they're taking a straight line. It's a little bit of the same here. This line is actually not a straight line. It only looks like a straight line on the log chart. It's actually a parabola. So it gets more difficult to attain as time goes on. So we shouldn't expect to run on this line forever. But for now, it is still close enough that there is a chance we could rally back up to it if Bitcoin were able to continue the parabolic uptrend we've been in for the last 4 months. Nevertheless, falling below this uptrend indicates to us that Bitcoin has entered a season, whether that be a week, a month, or a year, of corrective movement. And so that's what we want to discern. We've got two major zones that I've detailed in previous content, so I'll be brief on that. 31,850, and we've also got our support levels down here right below us, mainly having to do with this box right here, which is the CME Futures Gap, which is just immediately beneath us. One prediction that I can give you, and a takeaway, I love to give you takeaways, that I can give you right now is that we are almost certainly going to fill this gap. I would be extraordinarily shocked if we did not fill this gap, considering the fact that we're already filling part of it. We've already dropped low enough to fill a small portion of this gap. If we zoom in really, really close here, then you can see that Bitcoin has actually fallen below this wick ever so slightly. It's come right down here like a dollar beneath it. We're literally sitting exactly on top of the CME Futures Gap if we consider the opening to be on this wick. All right. And so the reason that that is so important is because we're right here. Bitcoin only needs to drop ever so slightly farther, about another $700 to $800 to fill the gap. And the likelihood of Bitcoin not filling that gap at this point is near zero. I would say even if it's on a wick, even if it takes 5 minutes, it is highly, highly likely that we are going to see a drop to fill that gap. And when that happens, that will, of course, be the end of this level of support at 40,600, which will likely lead to a cascading long liquidations that are being opened here. Many people are opening longs at the bottom, which is not wise, but it happens quite a lot. A lot of people are opening longs right here with stop losses right beneath them. And if that's occurring and we drop through this level of support, which I'm giving a very high likelihood is going to happen, those longs are going to be liquidated and you're probably going to drop down to the next level of support. The next zones of support are, of course, having to do with this previous market action over here. We've got support, a support level that was a previous level of resistance at $38,000, and that also lines up with a visible range volume profile, as you can see here. This block right here between about 37 to 38, that'd be our next major zone of support. And it also lines up with Lux Algo, because Lux Algo's price target, as we are under a sell signal, even on the daily chart, we are under a sell signal. The price target for Lux Algo currently sits right there in that exact zone between about $37,000 and $39,800. So all things are telling us that Bitcoin is going to drop through $40,000, pull back to that zone of support around 38, and somewhere in that range, it's going to have an excellent opportunity to bounce. Now, those are all necessarily bearish factors that indicate a further drop is coming. That being said, I do want to bring to you both sides of the equation, because there's always more than meets the eye when it comes to technical analysis. Because keep in mind, this price action chart is the aggregate of millions of investors' opinion on the market. Let's just back up and go back to first principles for a second. The purpose of technical analysis is not to understand the price of the market. It is to understand the machinations and the manifestations of those machinations of the traders. What are the traders and the investors thinking? Because what they are thinking manifests in their purchases and their sells of the market. It manifests in them buying and selling the market. And so whenever they go about buying and selling the market, they are imprinting on the market what they think about the market. And so we've got to back up and kind of think about what's going on here. The fact of the matter is, many people are taking profit. It's not so much that they are huge bears. It's not so much that they think the bull market is over. Many of the bears right now are actually bulls that have just flipped bearish for a time so they can take profit. We're not talking about true diehard bears that think the end of the world is coming. And that's not who I am. There's even people in chat and have been for a few days saying, oh, Jeb's a massive fuster. Well, do you not remember the prediction that we're going to 100K this year? Like, no, I'm a bull on Bitcoin right now. Broadly speaking, I've been a bull for about a year, ever since we bottomed out around 15.5. In the same way that many of the bulls that bought the market 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, are simply bearish for a season to take their profits, as am I. I'm a bear for a short season because I believe that in the same way that the market is taking profit, I'm not taking profit because I'm holding for the bull market, but I understand the way the traders and the investors are thinking. They're thinking, just made a bunch of money. Maybe I was on leverage. Maybe I bought some altcoins. I rode them up. And now we're going to take profits, and then we're going to cycle back in. That's the way that many of these investors are thinking. They're thinking, okay, an ETF just launched, made a bunch of money. Evidently, we're going through a correction. Now's a good time to take profit. So they're all kind of thinking that at the same time. They're all taking their profits. But what are they doing with the money? Many of them are going to maybe do something fun with the money, but many of them are going to cycle that money right back in. Give me a 1 in chat if you are flipping this market right now. You're saying, hey, I'm selling just so I can save up and buy at a lower level. So many people are doing that right now. And that's why we cannot throw out the bullish argument either. Bitcoin may drop down to 38, and I think technically it will. But there is a strong argument to be made that Bitcoin is not inherently being driven by bears right now. It's mostly being driven by bulls that are taking profit, and there is a difference. And with that in mind, that's why I bring to you some bullish factors. Namely, that there is a descending trading channel, but it's almost tight enough to be a wedge right here that Bitcoin is currently finding itself in. Falling wedges like this break bullish 70% of the time. At this point in time, it is very possible that Bitcoin could be faking us out. Even as we speak, with this drop down here to around $40,000, we could bounce off of this downtrending support and then break up. The purpose of my analysis here is to let you guys know that the bulls are still in charge of this market. It's just that the bulls have taken a break. The bulls have not given up the initiative. They're simply on hiatus. And what that means is that if you are a bear, be careful. Your faction, the bears, have not taken back control of this market. We are not in a bear market. We're in a bull market, which is on pause. And so, if you are looking to short this market, I would highly encourage you to be careful. Again, I want to give you as much application as possible. It's easy to get caught up in philosophy of, this is what I think, this is what this person thinks, this is what this chart says. What's the application? I always want to go back to that because I know you guys are watching this channel with tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of you tens of dollars, some of you millions of dollars, whatever it is. I want you to have application. The application here is that Bitcoin has not entered a new bear market. At least we have no confirmation or no reason to believe that as of now. What we do understand is that the bottom may be very close. So it would probably be unwise to enter into any super confident short trade. Rather, it would be wiser, which is what we're going for. It would be wiser to hold onto a lump sum potentially and consider buying on a dip. Or just to continue dollar cost averaging, as that's what I'm doing. You guys are always wondering what I'm doing. I'm DCAing straight through this, and I told you guys, lump sum investments may be coming if we drop down to 32. But for now, just dollar cost averaging, continuing as normal, enjoying the discounts, lowering my average cost basis, loving life. That's what we're doing right now with our investments. Bitcoin may drop down to 38, but here's the thing. The drop down to 38 is so close, and there's so many different levels of support in here, it's hard to argue that there's a great shorting opportunity because it's very difficult to figure out where the entry and the exit ought to be. You can try and short here if you want, but the best place to short would have been once we drop below this uptrending level of support. If we drop below 40, then maybe there's an opportunity there if you're very good at trading. But my recommendation for the vast majority of you that are watching is to simply look for entries. And if you want to do a lump sum deployment, if we drop down to 38, then great. From there, if we drop down to 32, a lump sum deployment looks even better. But broadly speaking, my recommendation, this is not specific financial advice, but my recommendation is to continue dollar cost averaging as you would and enjoy the lower average cost and enjoy the lowering average cost basis of your portfolio, and then hold on tight because once the halving comes, I do believe that Bitcoin and the rest of the market will swing back to the upside, even if we spend the next 4 months correcting. There were many times in 2023 that it felt like all was lost because Bitcoin was trading sideways or crashing for 60, 70, 80, 90 days. But Don't forget, the overall market is bullish. That's the sentiment of the market. That's the way the investors are deploying capital into the market. And that is the way that we ought to think about the market, because the trend is your friend until it ends. That, my friends, is your takeaway on Bitcoin. But we are going to continue moving on here now into talking about the altcoins. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, and make sure that if you have not already, to hit that like button, because if we can get to 300 likes, I'm going to give you a fortune cookie, and then you guys can open the fortune cookie and tell me what wisdom it has for you. We're going to read some chat, and then we're going to keep on going here. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Always look both ways on a one-way street. That's a great way of putting it. That is a great way of putting it. The ETF launch was the top for this year. This is macro trend inversion, just like for CME Futures. Coinbase listing, Futures ETF launch. That is an opinion that I want to take very seriously, because we do have a trend there. CME Futures launched December 16th, 17th? December 16th or 17th, 2017. It was the top of the 2017 bull market. Coinbase launched April 14th, 15th? I'm always within a day. April 14th or 15th of the year before last. Yeah, 2021. Gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. That was the top of the market for a while. Something to keep in mind about those two launches, though, is they were tops, but they also happened at the very end of a massive parabolic uptrend. We've had a parabolic uptrend, but it's been a $23,000 uptrend, not a $60,000 uptrend, not a 2,000% movement like we saw in 2017. There's still a lot of strength left in this market, and though we have seen those events mark cycle tops, and I do think that this does mark a top, I don't think that it means that the bull market is over. The bull market, I think, still has a lot of juice left in it. You could think about it like this. When those events took place, it took the cumulative effort of the entire market for months or years to get Coinbase listed, or to get the CME Futures to launch, or for, in this case, to get the Bitcoin ETF to launch. And during the time that we were looking forward to those events, we saw huge rallies. And then those were the capstones of the whole movement, and they gave a great catalyst for the bears to start a correction. Right now, there's still a lot of bullish sentiment in the space that has not been exhausted. It just needs to recoup. So I don't think it's the end of the bull market, but I do believe that the ETF launch will go down in history as the top of a major rally that we will then go and recapture later on this year. That's my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours in chat. Hitting a major 0.618 from the 69K is pretty textbook. Last time that happened, we nuked the lows over a period of time. Eventually revisiting the lows seems likely. Yes, we did see something like that take place. What he is talking about is out on the linear chart. We've got Fibonacci retracement right here. Let's go to a cleaner chart here, and then we'll look at this briefly, and then we'll move right along here. Actually, I take that back. It'll be on the log chart. On log chart, and another reason why there's a lot of support right here is because the 0.618 level is immediately beneath us. Rallying up to 0.786 and correcting, we did see a similar thing happen back in the 2019 bear market. That is an entry. Let's go ahead and do our Fibonacci retracement. Wrong button. We do a corrective movement here. You can see that the exact same thing was occurring. And this is very important point. We rallied up to 0.786. We pulled back down to the 0.618, which in this case was $9,600. Then we dropped down to 0.5, which was right here around 76. If you'll remember, my prediction has been, it's a little bit less likely, but it's still possible that we drop back down to the 0.5, right? Same way that we did in 2019. And we did, even for a short time, drop below the 0.5 down to the 0.382, almost, about 0.4, which would be a drop down to like $28,000 to $29,000 briefly. That's possible. If so, oh man, lump sum the heck out of that. Because if you remember what happened next, we went through a big bull market. This bull market would have probably looked a little bit something more like this, if not for the pandemic. Still not sure if I can say the C word on chat. I had the channel taken down for a week 4 years ago for that, and I still have no idea whether it's permissible by YouTube to utter that word. But the pandemic is what I've always called it ever since I got the channel removed. But nevertheless, there is parallel here, and I do see the rationale for us dropping down to the 0.5, maybe even back down to the 0.382. And we did revisit lows here, but I think it's important to remember that this movement was caused by the pandemic, not necessarily by technical factors. The market was exceptionally bullish before the pandemic really took hold and gripped the public with fear. I think that, therefore, the reasonable assumption would be to say, okay, if we're going to see this trend repeat itself, then we would drop down to the 0.5, maybe even to 0.382, but from there, we would likely go into the bull market. Also, keep in mind that the top here was a full year and change before the halving. At this point in time, the halving is only a few months away, which denotes that we very well may see a smaller corrective movement, hence the prediction of an absolute drop at most to the 0.5 level, which again would harken back and look very similar to what we saw in 2019. And to be honest with you, I would love that. That would be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movement. Partially also because it would allow us to define a slightly more acceptable and easy to maintain uptrend based on these bottoms right here. I really hope that we do spend the rest of January, February, and March dropping back down to $32,000. That would be, in my opinion, the single best thing that could happen to the Bitcoin chart to date this year. So that's what I'm hoping happens. It would be a reiteration of 2019. It would establish a 2-point trend that we could use in the future. It would just be beautiful. It would make so many things line up technically if we drop down to 32. And I am honestly at this point expecting that to happen. I can say with a lot more confidence we're going to drop down to 36 to 37, 38 because it's right there, but I do hope that we're going to drop down to 32. We would possibly be on our way to test the 31.8 level that has not been tested since breaking as resistance also. Yes, exactly. Linear chart hit the 0.618, not log. I see what you're saying, Dr. Crypto, Decrypto. Yes, I see what you're saying. News was a catalyst to hit levels that would have been hit regardless over time. Maybe. Fear and greed needs to get back into the 30s before we start going back up again. Fear and greed does need to correct a good bit. Fear and greed is at 56 right now. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. We've started a corrective movement. Bitcoin is taking its opportunity to go through a correction. And so at this point, we do believe that there will be a larger correction than just $40,000. I believe the overall trend is bullish, but within that overall trend of bullishness, there is a trend of bearishness that should not be ignored. And when Bitcoin takes this opportunity to have a correction, we ought to really consider that. You know, it's funny. For the last 4 or 5 months, I've been extremely bullish on Bitcoin. We got a little thrown off there by the ETF. I expected we'd have a bit more of a rally, a bit more immediately. We did not. I can learn from saying, hey, look, Jeb, there's a trend. Coinbase ETF, Coinbase stock, launch, crash. CME Futures launch, crash. ETF launch, same deal. Next time we'll know, all right, we really ought to listen to the principle of sell the news. And so that's what's taking place. Makes sense. I think I've learned from that. That being said, my prediction that we would go to 50, that took place, and I do think that we're going to see $100,000 Bitcoin this year. And if not, that's okay, because I do at least believe that we'll be on a strong rally back up towards all-time high by the end of this year in the conservative sense. But I do believe at this point that my general thesis, pretty much ever since the day after the launch, we saw that correction, has been we're going into a season of correction right now. In the same way for the 4 months before that, I was telling you guys we're going into a season of rally right now leading up to the ETF. We're going to see what happens from there. Now we've seen what happens from there. We're moving into a season of correction, and we've been pretty much exactly on that idea that we're going into a correction for about the last week. So let's ride that and see where it goes. Let's go ahead and read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to talk about some altcoins. Let's see if we can't get to 300 likes, guys. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. Silent said, probably a lot of sideways action to bore more people out of the market as well. Check your other charts and news to make some good trades. Yes, absolutely. Really quickly, before we continue, I do want to let you guys know that we will be going on vacation next week. Our plan is I'm going to try anyway. It's a lot of extra work, but I'm going to try to pre-record the content for next week in the exact same format as we do normally, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is a phone video. Thursday is Climate of Crypto. And then instead of the stream next week, first thing in the morning, I'm going to pop out of bed, do my analysis a little bit, shoot a phone video, and that will be uploading. If everything goes well, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try to. That phone video will be uploading at 10 a.m. Eastern to take the place of the stream for that week. And we will go ahead and let you guys know about the sponsor, and I'll read the comments probably early on the next morning a little bit. So that's the schedule that we're going to be running. So you're going to be getting 2 videos each day in the same time slots that you're used to. But myself, I will be able to kind of do my work and then turn off from about 8 a.m. forward so I can really enjoy that time with my family. We've got 2 small kids, and we really need a break and a vacation. So we're going to be going on a trip. Really looking forward to it, and really looking forward to coming back re-energized and recharged and ready to take on the year of 2024. So I did just want to let you guys know again, I mentioned it about a week ago, but I want to let you guys know again that that's what's coming. Coffee and Crypto is not going anywhere. We're not changing the overall schedule, but for that week, when you see a slightly different style of upload, slightly different upload schedule, just know that that has been planned for weeks in advance. That's been okayed with the sponsors that are on the stream. So everything's going according to plan with that. And I just want you guys to know that we are here for you, but we're also going to be here for our family, because ultimately, if we neglect our family, then nothing that we do here in these markets is worth anything. All right, let's read some chat. North Fresh Coffee Roaster said, morning, Jeb. Good to see you again. Good to see you as well. Gene Didier said, 194th like. Thank you. Quinn Daughtery said, good morning, Jeb. Thanks for your consistent work. Thank you guys so much. How strong is the 40.5K level? Quite strong, but I don't think it's stronger than the market, to be honest with you. All right. Let's see. All right. I want to talk a little bit about some of the altcoins, though. And the main two that I want to talk about are Cardano and Solana, because you guys are always talking to me about Cardano and Solana. I do financial coaching for you guys, and I love getting to sit down and talk with you. If you're interested, you can find the links for that in the description box down below. We've got a lot of clients that come to me and they're showing me their portfolios, and I don't go into any specifics. I won't even go near a specific, but what I will say is that a common theme is that people seem to like Cardano and Solana. So I've got that information in tow, and I want to talk to you a little bit about those two coins because I know that they're probably of interest to you. So Solana. Right now, Solana is currently sitting at $86. And the reason that that's significant is because Solana is going through a similar trend that Bitcoin went through. Solana rallied all the way up to its 0.786 level in the exact same fashion that Bitcoin did when Bitcoin rallied up to 0.786 right here. Solana is in a similar correction to Bitcoin, where it's correcting through, correcting from the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level back down to the Fibonacci golden pocket between 0.618 and 0.65. That level is $71.61. If Bitcoin breaks below $40,500, therefore, my prediction right out the gate, I'm going to be very upfront with you, is Solana goes to $71. And the reason for that is because Solana is strongly testing this uptrending level of support, which, to be honest with you, reminds me quite a lot of the same uptrending level of support that Bitcoin is testing. These are straight lines on the linear chart, but they are logarithmic, parabolic uptrends if they were to be translated to the linear chart, which means that every day this trend line is becoming exponentially, not even just linearly, but logarithmically and exponentially more difficult for Solana to maintain. And with the current bearishness and current outlook of bearishness, I find it highly improbable that Solana will be able to maintain this uptrend. Once it breaks below that uptrend, there is an excellent trading opportunity because we will probably drop almost immediately down to about $75, but it also gives us the opportunity to dollar cost average in lower. I, at this point, am extremely confident, and I don't say that lightly, but I'm very confident that Solana is going to break this uptrend and is going to fall back down to nearing $70, if not lower. Solana could very easily fall all the way back down to $50 before we start the next leg of this uptrend. If so, then that's where you could maybe put a lump sum in, or you could double your dollar cost averaging for 2 months around the bottom, whatever it may be. But just know that if you're dollar cost averaging with the expectation of a major bull market coming, which we are, I still believe Solana could go to over $600 in the bull market. If we are expecting a major uptrend, then whenever we do go through a major drop, that is supposed to be viewed as a good thing. And the reason for that is quite simply because whenever the market is going up in your dollar cost averaging, that is raising your average cost basis. Whenever the market is dropping, you are lowering your average cost basis. The average cost basis is the average entry price of your entire portfolio. So if you go to $600 and your average cost basis is $150, then on average of all of those investments, you made 400%. So it's in your best interest to take advantage of lowering your average cost basis wherever you can. And with this correction coming to Solana, you're going to be able to do that if you continue to purchase. Don't do as the fools do and only dollar cost average on the way up and then get scared on the way down. On the way down is the best time to dollar cost average. So delicately and carefully plan your investments in the ways that we have taught you, in the ways that I teach you in financial coaching and in these videos and in potentially a future course. We'll talk about that later. Continue to implement these strategies for investment if you are like me and believe that a major rally is coming. Corrections are excellent times to begin and definitely to continue dollar cost averaging. I believe a major corrective movement on Solana is coming, and it'll drop Solana down to $72, potentially even as low as $50 to $60. So potentially have a lump sum on the side, and if you're dollar cost averaging into Solana, continue to do so. Similarly, on Cardano. Cardano is going through a very, very, very similar situation, except it does not have the parallel market structure that Bitcoin does. Instead, Cardano has rallied up to the 0.382 level. It is still so far from all-time high, which is one of the reasons that I love investing in Cardano right now. I do also recommend investing in Solana and Arbitrum, and in Ethereum, some of its other competitors in the layer 1 ecosystem, because it is a little bit concerning Cardano has not rallied more, but it also makes sense. Solana had a major crash that dropped the bottom of the Fibonacci as a result of the FTX collapse, which was not really Solana's fault. So it does actually make sense. Solana probably would not be that low if not for the crash from FTX. In fact, we would probably be seeing Solana testing like its 0.618 level right now rather than 0.782. You can kind of see there. But nevertheless, on Cardano, it is still very far from all-time high, but it is going through some very kind of easy to see corrective movements. It rallied up to the 0.382 level, and right now it is dropping back down to the 0.236 level, which is about 45 cents. In our Cardano price prediction, not that long ago, about a month and a half ago, we predicted that Cardano would basically finish out its rally around 0.65 to 0.68, which was basically right around the time we uploaded it. We said, hey, look, this rally's probably about over. I then said, if you go back in that video, I'm going to make a part 2 to that Cardano video and reference back to this, so you'll see that in this video. I don't know when that's going to come out, probably this week or next week. But in that Cardano video, I said that we're going to drop down to 40 to 42 cents was the exact prediction. Cardano so far has dropped down to 46. So we've gotten very close, but a correction all the way down to 40 is definitely still possible. If Bitcoin goes through its correction, then we will probably see that. We've been saying all of this for a month and a half. So just keep that in mind. That's the correction we could see. But remember, from there, we also predicted that Cardano could go up to $8. That's kind of our prediction in the long term. So as you see Cardano go through its correction, in a similar way that we saw with Solana, don't get freaked out. Don't get scared out of your investments. If you believe in this market for the long term, then a correction is your best friend. If you believe in the long term that your family is going to benefit from a 65-inch plasma screen, HD TV, HGTV, HD, high definition, super fancy plasma screen, I don't know if I already said that, flat screen, all of the marketing terms, television. Did I mention it was 65 inches? If you think your family is going to benefit from that, then you don't get freaked out when it goes half off. You don't say, oh my gosh, Lenovo or Samsung or LG, they're going to go out of business and we don't have television anymore. No, you say, I think this is going to be a good, I cringe at the idea of calling a television investment, but we think this is going to be a good quote unquote investment for our family. So we don't get freaked out when it goes on sale. If we genuinely believe that it's a good thing to buy, if we genuinely believe that's a good thing to buy, then when it goes down in price, we rejoice. And so similarly with Cardano, if you genuinely believe in Cardano's long-term vision, which I do, and I think that it'll at least stay in the top 10 as it pretty much always has, then we should rejoice when it corrects because we get a discount. And again, you get to lower your average cost basis. If you've been dollar cost averaging every week with me, then you probably have some entries right now that you're upside down on, up here around 65 cents. That's what happens with dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging is not about any one entry. It's about the average entry. And so when we go through this correction down here to 46 cents, 49 cents, then we get the opportunity to lower that average cost basis. And so if Cardano does go down to 40 cents and you still believe in the long-term vision of the project and you believe that it's going to do well, then rejoice at your ability to lower your average cost basis. There are people that called Michael Saylor a fool for buying on the way down. Because Michael Saylor is probably going to be lower a month from now. But now Michael Saylor's laughing because he's got $5.5 billion in Bitcoin and his average cost base, I think, is like 32 grand, which, we could revisit that. But as it goes down again, lowering the average cost basis. The idea of dollar cost averaging works. If you have not tried it, then try it before you contradict it. It works. If the market goes up over time, if it's an appreciating market over time. So if you genuinely believe that these assets will be worth more in the future than they are now, then the most simple, most cost-effective way for you to begin your investment journey, and there's other more complicated things you can do, but where you should start is with dollar cost averaging into cryptocurrencies that you believe are going to be worth significantly more in the future than they are now. And from there, if you want to get more frisky with it, if you want to start trading, if you want to start doing lump sums, if you want to start timing the market, doing all that, fine, but do that with a smaller amount of money and do it more cautiously and start with a tried and true method, which is dollar cost averaging into markets that we firmly believe will appreciate in value over time. That is how you make money. That is the definition of investment. Putting money into a market consistently, not necessarily all at once, but more often consistently, that we have a very strong and good reason to believe will increase in value over time. That is the core of investment, and that is what you guys need to do to become successful in the cryptocurrency space. Everything else is an afterthought from that. All right. ETF launch strategy to be approved for when Ethereum ETF gets approved. Exactly. That's the cool thing, is that we're going to have historical analysis that we can do when the Ethereum ETF launches. Because as I said before the ETH ETF launches, I said, look, we could rally 10 grand, we could drop 10 grand. We have no precedent to really know what's going to happen here. The closest thing we had to precedent was the idea of the Coinbase stock and the CME Futures. And ultimately, we weren't exactly sure how that was going to apply. We found out that that was a good trend to pay attention to, and now we know that. But now we know what will happen more than... Now we have a better idea of what will probably happen, I should say, when the Ethereum ETFs get approved. And that could be years from now. That could be years from now. It'll probably be under a different administration, but we'll be able to remember back to this moment in history. And that'll be wonderful. Cox family said, Jeb, will you please touch on ICP? Internet Computer is a member of our portfolio. Quite excited about ICP, and I'm also quite excited about the correction it's going through right now, because ICP rallied quickly. I mean, ICP kind of came out of nowhere, rallying from like $2 all the way up to 10. One thing I want to mention here is the infinite maximum supply. Hasn't really been tampered with a whole lot, but the infinite maximum supply is there. The total supply is 513 million, circulating supply 455 million. Most of that has already been deployed, which is nice. I do hope that we're not going to see more supply added. But the thing that I'm looking forward to with ICP is the breadth of application that it has. I'm not going to get super into the fundamentals, but if you go to the website, I believe they've got, I think it's here just at the front of the website. I hope it is. If not, then I'll have to bring it up another day. But there is a certain graphic here. Web 2 compatible, multi-chain, cost-effective, etc. This right here is a really important component of blockchains, in case you don't know. When you have a blockchain, one of the things you have to keep in mind about the blockchain is that it's designed to store data forever. And if you want a bunch of people to hold onto the blockchain, but it's designed to store data forever, then you run into the scalability issue, not just on transactions per second, but also on the ability for individuals to hold on to the information, which leads to centralization of the validators around the ability to store gigabytes, petabytes, zettabytes of information. So the cost effectiveness of ICP and Cardano and others like it is a huge point in their favor. The global spend on IT personnel is now $1.8 trillion. Canister software greatly simplifies the development and maintenance of online systems and services, driving cost savings and making you faster to market. 5 gigabytes per year. Just a bunch of different things that you're going to read about here that I'll be able to bring you guys. The blockchain industry skunkworks. 270 team members, 1568 publications, a lot of patents, a lot of things going on with ICP. This is a very active project, which is very exciting for me. And I will tell you right now, I am really good with computers. I am terrible with internet. So I'm learning more about internet by studying ICP. But I will continue to learn about it and continue to bring you guys more content. But I will say that from what I can see on ICP, I'm really excited about the technology that it's bringing. All right, let's read a little bit of chat, and then we are going to go ahead and wrap it out. Brief Crypto said, very late but present. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Okay. Continue to DCA and hodl. Alabaster Smidge said, yes. Ultimately, guys, I want to leave you with a parting nugget of wisdom. And this you can apply to any element of your life. This will potentially lead you to sign up for CT2A or for something like it. This could potentially lead you to sign up for NordVPN. This could potentially lead you to making investments the way that we recommend. It could potentially lead you to a bunch of different decisions. It could lead you away from doing those things if you've got good reasoning. Whatever you think. But the nugget of wisdom that I want to leave you with is this. The nugget of wisdom that I want to leave you with is this. It is very easy to seek the results of something rather than to seek the method by which you get the results of something. For example, if you are too goal-oriented in the gym, your mentality can shift to, how do I get 225 up on bench? How do I deadlift 315? How do I squat 185? Whatever your levels are, whatever your strengths are. How do I do 10 pull-ups? But anybody that goes into the gym and succeeds understands that the way you become successful in the long run is not by focusing on the goals, although it's important to track your progress. The focus should be on the form, on the plan, on the intensity of your training. The focus cannot be on the end result, because then if the focus is on the end result, then you are incentivized to cut corners to get to that result. Just about anybody can do 10 pull-ups if they do it in a sloppy way. Just about anybody can get up a lot more on bench press or on deadlift. Deadlift's a good example, because a lot of people can pull a lot more weight with deadlift with terrible form than they can with good form. It's a lot easier to pull a lot of weight on deadlift with bad form. to use good form, you might have to drop 100 pounds off that sucker. So if you're trying to hit a goal and that's your intention, then you're going to be able to get to that goal a lot quicker in the short term by skipping the form. The Bible talks about this. It says that somebody who seeks to I'll paraphrase here. I aspire to memorize this verse, but the Bible basically says something in Proverbs, says something to the effect of, if you try and get rich quickly, you're probably going to lose it. It's the people that take their time and get rich slowly, but they get rich the right way, that will probably be able to hold on to those riches, if they do it with integrity and righteousness and justice and meekness and humility. My point here is that if we place our focus on the form, and the form of life is wisdom, if we place our focus on downloading wisdom and walking wisely, then the goals will come. And so on this channel, my goal is not to make a ton of money. My goal is to treat finances in this channel and our own investments in my stewardship of the 169,000 unique viewers that this channel has with wisdom, and good things will come from that. It's not my goal to say, we're going to hit the 1 million subscribers. We're going to do $10 million in revenue. We're going to do X. We're going to do Y. We're going to do Z. No, my goal is to do what I'm doing with wisdom. And then I know that by dependence, those goals that we seek will come if they're the Lord's will. And so I like to leave you guys with application. The application for our lives is that we need to focus on how to wisely steward what is in our possession. We need to focus on how to wisely seek counsel, which is what you're doing here. The Bible says, with wisdom, with wise counsel, you shall go to war. You shall go and invest. With wise counsel, you should go and invest. We should seek to be wise about our finances, to be wise in every decision, make the right decisions. And the goals that we have will come from the fruit of that. But if we just try and be God and say, boom, there's a fruit, doesn't work that way. We're going to make a mess of it. We've got to focus on the things that we can control, which is only ourselves. And the fruit will be the influence that we have on others. You can control where you spend your money, but you can only influence the direction of your net worth by the actions that you choose today. So let's continue to pray on how we can be wise with our finances and wise with our walk with the Lord and wise in our life. And if you guys do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, absolutely no pressure, but I do want to let you know that I follow him and I love him. And he was my Savior, and he saved me from sin. And if you guys want to learn more about Christ and how he saves us from our sin, then let me know. I remember in high school, before I was a Christian, before I knew anything about the gospel, I would find myself just saying things like, man, why did I say that? Man, I would try and control my tongue, and I just couldn't. I was like, I just said something stupid. I don't even know how to stop myself from doing that. I just hurt somebody with my words. There's something in me that I want to bring under control, but I just can't figure out how to do it. And later on, I realized I needed the Lord's help with that. And so if you're struggling in life, Christ doesn't say he's going to make everything easy, but he does say you'll never be alone. The entire universe was created that we would be in communion and relationship with Christ. And so if you want to know more about the most beautiful relationship that you will ever enter into, where you will never, ever, ever be let down, although it may lead you in ways that you didn't think it would, then let us know. We'd love to talk to you about Jesus Christ. We're going to read some chat and then we're going to wrap it out. Bring Facts said, self-custody, mine, and nodes. Boom. I love it. Joseph Takar said, hey, Brother Jev from Australia. Joseph, I did not know. Oh, of course wait a minute. Of course I knew that you were in Australia, Josie. We've talked. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Oh, man, I love sitting down with you. Everybody give some love to Josie in chat. Someone in our chat that I have had the great esteem and pleasure to meet. Hope you're doing well in the land down under. Queen said, life-changing seeds planted. Matt Cato said, amen, Jeb. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of your support. All right. Let's see. Y'all got any more of them discounts? Dave Cryptelli. All the links down below will give you discounts on great products. So check those out if you're interested. Guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. So we got a lot of more content coming. And you're going to be very successful in this bull market, but focus on wisdom. Focus on being wise with your money. Focus on downloading information and knowledge about how the market works, about how to do technical analysis, about how to budget your money, about where and how and when and why, and all the 5 W's about how and why we should invest in the cryptocurrency market. Focus on gaining wisdom and knowledge, because wisdom and knowledge lead to discretion and understanding. And from that, you will have the art of being able to live life successfully. I greatly appreciate all of you for tuning in. That will be wrapping it out for today's stream. Before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.